Ever notice how horror movies seem to have to work twice as hard just to get a little respect? It's like the Academy Awards looks at the genre the same way a gourmet cook eyes up drive-through fast food, suspicious, sometimes outright judgmental, definitely not something they want on their plate. But every now and then a horror flick muscles its way into the big fancy dining room, straightens its posture and walks out with an Oscar. And honestly, when it happens it feels like one of our own, finally made good. At the time of this recording, we're about a month out from the 98th Academy Awards, and this year horror is definitely much more on the menu than ever before. Del Toro's Frankenstein and Ryan Coogler's Sinners lead the pack, but Weapons has a few nods in there too. Hell, somehow The Ugly Stepsister is even in the running for Best Makeup. So this year, it seems timely and worthwhile to take a moment and look back at the genre's past award winners. The obvious place to start is with The Silence of the Lambs. If you were alive in the early 1990s, this movie was basically required viewing, not just for horror fans, for everyone with a pulse. This thing didn't just win an Oscar, it cleaned up. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actors, Best Adapted Screenplay. That's like the prom queen winning the Super Bowl, the Pick 5 lottery, and being awarded the key to the city all in one shot. And yeah, people argue whether it's really horror, but come on, if Hannibal Lecter isn't horror, then what are we even doing here? Those same people probably really relate to Bill Clinton's use of the word is. But decades before Silence of the Lambs, there was The Exorcist. It won for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Sound. Should have won for Best Picture and Best Director too, as well as a bunch of the acting awards. But let's not get greedy here. More recently, Get Out. I've said it before, Jordan Peele's a frustrating one for me personally. He's made 3 really good films in my opinion, but always falls just short of greatness. But he's never anything short of fascinating. I'm still holding out hope. Did Get Out deserve the Best Picture nod? Sure, I'm happy it won. The horror genre deserves more respect, and if Peele's the guy delivering it, well then kick the donkey. He's a hero. Black Swan. Now, some folks will say this is more psychological thriller than horror. But listen, if you've ever taken the PATH train at 1 a.m., you know psychological horror is still horror. Also, it looks and feels like Dario Argento and Jonathan Borman had a daughter together and it grew up into a pretentious high school drama club president. But whatever, it's got its moments. It won Best Actress for Natalie Portman. It's certainly better than that shit she did in Star Wars, though I'd argue she was better in Leon the Professional. It racked up nominations in everything from cinematography to directing. It's the kind of movie that makes you feel like you should stretch more, and maybe call your therapist, or watch Suspiria and Leo the Last. Now that I think about it, do that instead. Guillermo del Toro's Shape of Water is basically a Creature from the Black Lagoon rom-com. Okay, it's not, but that's how I watched it. It won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Production Design, and Best Original Score. I kind of assume a lot of the Academy have teenage girls who belong to PETA. An American Werewolf in London took home a Golden Man statue for Best Makeup. It was controversial at the time since the makeup artists who worked with lipstick and blush were all kinds of butthurt that they had to compete with Rick freakin' Baker. Who could blame them? He repeated the accomplishment in 2011 for The Wolfman. Gotta be something about furries. Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula won Best Costume Design, Best Makeup, and Best Sound Editing. And it's a handsome flick, that's for sure. That Gary Oldman wasn't even considered as a headshaker, but whatever. And Alien won for Best Visual Effects in 1979. It's Alien. It should have won everything. The Omen won Best Original Score. Ruth Gordon won Best Supporting Actress for Rosemary's Baby. Kathy Bates won Best Actress for Misery. Chris Wallace and Stephen Dupuis won Best Makeup for The Fly. Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow won for Best Art Direction. Aliens won Best Sound Editing and Best Visual Effects. It wasn't nominated for its screenplay for obvious reasons. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane won for Best Costume Design way back in 1962. Even before that, Frederick March won Best Actor for 1931's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's pervy and free-spirited. You'll love it. The Claude Rains version of Phantom of the Opera won Best Cinematography and Art Direction in 1943 for color films, which were different categories from black and white films. Gotta keep them separated, I suppose. 2 years later, The Portrait of Dorian Gray would earn the Art Direction Oscar, this time in the black and white column. And that movie also gave horror its first Best Actress nomination. For Angela Lansbury, believe it or not, she didn't win. Maybe that's why her daughter hung out with Charles Manson, one never knows. In 2024, The Substance won for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. No, really, that was the category. That's what people found memorable about that movie. I really don't understand people. Hopefully this year we can add a few more horror films to the list of winners. I kinda love the idea of the Frankenstein monster holding an award high over his head in victory. Honestly, it's Hollywood. I'm sure they'll ruin it with some political statement in the very next moment.